Hi, and welcome to the Senior Network. I'm your host, Greg Fulton, along with my co-host, Becky Davis. Glad to have you.
Thank you for inviting me.
And we're here at your gorgeous, the Cypress of Hilton
I know.
Head.
How fortunate is that? Thank you. So, yeah, we're here in the living room here at the Cypress Clubhouse.
And joined by LaNelle Fabian, correct?
Yes.
And the Director of Community Engagement with Friends of Caroline Hospice.
Yes.
Glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
And once again, our wonderful Nona Story with the Cypress of Hilton Head. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Well, tell us, LaNelle, first time we've met.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the Director of Community Engagement. What does that mean?
So I coordinate and manage the volunteers for our organization. Volunteers are very important to any hospice organization, but ours as well. And I help with some fundraising,
Sure.
marketing, and events. And my main focus is the volunteers, though.
The volunteer program, and is that something that volunteers rotate in and out, or do y'all get them and they stay a certain amount of time with you?
We have a volunteer that's been with us since 2008, and of course I'm processing paperwork on some new ones now. So they definitely rotate in and out, and but they're very important to our organization.
Sure.
We're regulated to have some cost savings for a patient's care, so a certain percentage of their care needs to come from volunteers.
So is it similar to many of the other areas where you can volunteer, that maybe someone volunteers for, one Wednesday afternoon a month, or is it more often than that?
Depends on the type of volunteer they are. So if they're a patient and family care volunteer, we usually work that out with them. I find the right match from the patient, the family, and the volunteer. And sometimes they go once or twice a week. 1 to 2 times a week, and basically they're sitting with the patient. They may read with the patient or play a game with the patient. Basically they're providing respite for the caregiver. So the caregiver can run an errand or go pick up medication or get a haircut, and so they're there. So that has to be a perfect match, because they're in the family's home and they're developing relationships.
And to that point, is there any type of training for the volunteers?
Yes, there definitely. We do background checks just like our employees.
Right.
We treat our volunteers. They go through all the background checks, driving record checks, and then they're also trained. They're not medically trained. They're not medical professionals, but they know what to do in case of emergency, and they know how to treat and care for a patient while they're there.
Again, I know we were talking before we went on air, that a lot of your volunteers come from people who have experienced the graciousness of the Friends of Caroline Hospice.
Yes.
And they want to give back.
Yes.
Which is a wonderful testimony, isn't it? Oh, good for you. That's great.
Yes.
And you were talking about keeping them active when you're in there doing things. And I know that, Nona, we were talking earlier about with the Cypress and the residents that aren't on hospice, but about how they need to stay active. Tell us a little bit about it.
Everyone needs to
Sure.
stay active. We all do. And so in our case, when you live here at the Cypress, we have an activities director specifically to fill up the calendar with all sorts of choices.
Literally.
And it doesn't mean that you have to participate in everything, but at least it's available. And so whether you're in the Preston Health Center, which is our skilled care facility, and there actually is an activities director just for the folks there at the Preston Health Center as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so stimulation, that's the sort of the going word right now, because that's just really important for everyone.
Sure.
As we age especially. And so, but to your point of the volunteers, we have a lot of members here at the Cypress who volunteer. We have a clinic here at the Cypress, and we also have our skilled care facility. So many of our members volunteer over at the clinic or the Preston.
And I must say,
It's
when
cute.
I go to our resident clinic, our member clinic over in the Talbert building, and I walk up to the clinic and there's a member volunteer, it just brings a smile to my face. And that's me. I mean, can you imagine what it does to the other members when they see a neighbor who's going to sign them in for their physical? It's really nice. But you're right. We love our volunteers.
Yeah, we do. And sometimes it's just a matter of stopping in and just saying hi to people, that type of thing. My dad's in the Preston right now. And I've mentioned him many times when we've had these conversations. And he's 100 years old, and so now he's moved to the Preston permanently. But
Sure.
there are volunteers who regularly stop in, aside from his friends, who stop in to say hi, and it's good. It's good. It's stimulating.
And that's, it goes back to what you guys offer here is that continuum of care.
That's right.
He's a perfect
Absolutely.
example, right?
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
Yep.
So you followed from his own independent living home
That's
into
right.
the Preston where he just needs a little bit more assistance and all of his friends are still around him.
Right.
That's the whole.
Yeah.
And keeping in mind that everybody is, individual situation. And the Cypress, I think we've done a stellar job at making sure that along all the steps, whether it's transportation, meal delivery, volunteer, helping them, encouraging them to volunteer if we feel like they're being isolated. I mean, every aspect of mind, body, and soul. I think we've figured it out, which
And
is
that even
great.
goes back to, a different realm, but with hospice, the continuum of getting involved a lot earlier with folks. I see that a lot now, right?
Yes, the goal is to get in there so they can have the best quality of life while they can, to keep them comfortable.
That's right.
and take care of them so they can really enjoy.
Gotcha. Well, hold that thought. We need to take a break. This is the Senior Network. Stay with us. We'll be right back.